Welcome, my viewers, to Navik TV. I am Eddie Kapronokoth. Today we are going to discuss matters concerning East Africa, East Africa countries like Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. And in studio, I have my special guest. It's a senior journalist who is dwelling in the political journalism. Let him introduce yourself.
Well, thank you very much. By the name is Benjamin Lokil.
Yeah.
Just like you stated, I'm a political journalist. Generally in East Africa, I may not specify in Uganda because we foresee our countries, and that's our role being the watchdogs of our community.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you. How far Uganda's politics?
Well, when we look at the Ugandan politics, actually, we cannot jump into politics before looking at the structure of the government itself, how it is standing.
Yeah.
So when you look at the structure of Uganda, of course, every government has arms. We have three arms of the government.
Three arms?
The judiciary, the legislature, and the executive, which consists of the presidential team. So all these arms have to work together. For example, in Kenya, this is what is happening. But when you relate to the situation in Uganda, it's a bit different because these arms, most of them have been disorganized. For example, the executive has taken over the judiciary. So the judiciary has no power over the executive, yet they are supposed to work hand in hand. So you realize that there is no equality, there is no rule of law.
Yeah.
The percent of the country is just because of the corruption and the power, which is belonging only to the executive, that even the Electoral Commission has no voice to give justice because there is no power.
Okay. Thank you for what do you think the democracy, or how is the democracy in the Ugandan politics? Because different news headlines have identified and saying that there's dictatorship form of government in Uganda. What is your concern?
Apparently, when you look at the current situation and being a journalist who has put my focus across all sections of the government, talk of the opposition and the ruling government, I can state that, just like I've said, whenever there is no rule of law, there is no justice. So in Uganda, the politics itself, it has been generalized and it has been put into a cage by the ruling party, whereby you have no voice in the opposition. That's why in the current updates, the son of the president, who is the CDF, just say that he wants to put the law in the legislature, that's in the parliament, that it is the parliament or the ruling government to choose for the opposition leader. Can you imagine that kind of arrangement in the government? It's like you saying, if we are fighting together, I have to decide for you the kind of the tools you're supposed to use to fight me. And then where does justice come? Because if I can give you options of what you use to fight me, which means I can use whatever I want. I have power, but you don't have power over me, which means there's
so what is about justice. The constitution of Uganda? Because I think constitution of Uganda is trying to make things to become more democratic manner, because in theory we know that Uganda is a democratic nation.
That's in theory. Of course, in the practical is what I want to tell you. Practically, what is happening is that even the constitution itself has been raped. You know what I mean by being raped? The constitution has been interrupted. For example, there is just a current bill called the sovereignty bill. This bill is focusing on that. They want to regulate the amount of the money that is entering in the country. But not regulating the money which is going outside the country. When you look at the economical part, it's always the money which comes to the country that develops the country, not the money which goes out. Now, when you put on regulations focusing on regulating the money that comes to the country, this gives us other questions. This gives critics to think why. Because when critics now have come with ideas that they are thinking that this is not about development, this is about pressing the opposition, because when you have a opposition party, you get funds outside.
Okay.
And this bill specifically said, it is specified that it is 400 billion that you should not receive outside. And if you are to receive, you have to pass a certain office. We invented the bill and it has been passed to the law. And it's now a law in Uganda.
That is so very fascinating. And you mentioned that 60% of Ugandans are supporting the party belong to Bobby Wine. And 40, that means if you want to balance it, 40% is supporting the president, Yoweri Kaguta.
Yeah, that's in reality.
And why, if that's reality, why does Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is still in power?
When no, as a party came into the Ugandan government, as a party or opposition party, it came in 2021.
Yeah.
The first election, the NUP leader said it has been rigged. Of course, we witnessed, but we had no evidence that we could agree as media personnel, media officials, because we deal with evidence. By that time, we believe that it is a party threatening the ruling government.
Okay.
But in the 2026 election, it was a bit more different. You witnessed, the country, all the world witnessed. The first thing is that the internet was shut down.
Yeah.
Does that show any justice?
No.
When the internet is shut, it means that they have closed the eyes of the world to see the corruption. And that was specifically during the time that they were to hear out who has won the results. And even during the voting, people were tortured. A number of NUP supporters were killed, not even only in prison. As we speak, we have more than 40, 50 in prison, not for doing any harm to the government, but just for being opposition.
Thank you.
Which is
lies. Okay. And why, if you see the Ugandan is also a parliamentary state, what do you think the government, the parliament is checking on the executive? What do you think about the parliamentary system in Uganda?
Well, in the parliament,
yeah,
we have almost something like 400 MPs in the parliament.
400 MPs.
Yeah. Now, in the parliament itself, the legislative part of the government is ruled by the speaker. In any country.
Yeah, in any country.
It is the speaker who controls the house and gives regulations and gives who to speak and who to say what. And also he has the final stamp of the decision made in the house. So in Uganda is a situation whereby you find the speaker and the vice are all from the ruling government. Okay. And remember, Uganda currently is led by the NRM party. Inside the NRM, there is already a growing up party called the Patriotic League. Okay. The Patriotic League is the party of the son of the president, who is currently the CDF. Yeah? So it's the leader of the Patriotic League. Now, Patriotic League work in Uganda, what is doing, they are developing new officials that when he overtakes the father, he already has a set of officials to work in his government. This includes even these house generals, these speakers in parliament. They are part of the team and they take orders from him. It's not from any set of the government, either judiciary or whatever kind of law.
Last time we saw that Nation Media Group in Uganda, its branch in Uganda, was shut up by the president's son. That's General Muenzi.
General Muenzi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
What do you think of the future of media in Uganda?
We all witness this.
Yeah.
Of course, where there is no rule of law, nothing prevails. So when we talk of the media, apparently in Uganda, the media is regulated by the government. And of course, if you look at into details, the reason as why these social medias were closed is because of reporting validated information. Yeah.
Okay. Last time we saw that Nation Media Group in Uganda, its branch in Uganda, was shut up by the president's son. That's General Muenzi.
General Muenzi.
Yeah.
We all witness this.
Yeah.
Of course, where there is no rule of law, nothing prevails. So when we talk of the media, apparently in Uganda, the media is regulated by the government. And of course, if you look at into details, the reason as why these social medias were closed is because of reporting validated information. Yeah.
Okay.
Something which you don't have to side either because of the government. You don't need to change anything, just like the government has to regulate. There are things that you are not supposed to what? To hear out in your social media.
So how do you see the future of media in Uganda?
Where I'm coming, imagine the reason as why Nation Media was closed. It is because it gave a question, a concern that citizens wanted to know. Because it's almost 3 months now that the first lady is missing in the country. We first heard that she was brought in Nairobi, and then from Nairobi overtaken to USA. We don't know that she was in a critical condition. Okay. And then remember, the first lady is the Minister of Education. So
that's the wife to Museveni. Is the Minister of Education. And Museveni is the president.
Yes. People were crying. They wanted to know, where is the mother of the nation? Then the question also, because of being a social media, Nation TV had to take concern to put on its post and ask that the community, the people, the citizens are asking, where is Janet Carter? The wife to the president. This interrupted everything.
Okay. So how do you see the future of the media?
We have no freedom in Uganda.
What is the last word that you can tell the Ugandans or any foreign citizen that is interesting to be to Ugandan affairs?
You know, before you advise people, you first have to let them know their problem.
Yes,
because you can never advise a person who doesn't know why you are even advising. They might not relate with the advice. People of Uganda must first of all look at the politics of other countries, like Kenya, nearby country. Kenya is thriving. Why? Because there is the rule of law.
There's rule of law.
The judiciary arm of the government has got power over the legislative part of the government, and the executive part has to play its role. In bringing laws, and the law should be discussed in the legislative. After discussed in the legislative, and then they bring to the judiciary, and then they pass it into law. These are steps of government that people should follow. In Uganda, there's nothing like that. If the son of the president today says he wants a certain law to be put into the constitution, it's something that cannot take even 1 week. It can even be passed into law without the community, without the citizens knowing.
So, what is your last word? What can you tell Ugandans?
My Ugandans should first of all look at the current situation of Uganda. We have no freedom of human rights. This is what this team of People's Power are fighting for. That's why now Uganda, we are being left behind. Kenya is fighting for economic rights. It's not human rights, as stupid as Uganda is. Because if you cannot still give each other rights to live, then when will you develop? This is what this team of People's Power are fighting for. That's why now Uganda, we are being left behind. Kenya is fighting for economic rights. It's not human rights, as stupid as Uganda is. Because if you cannot still give each other rights to live, then when will you develop? This is where I want you to also relate with the kind of thinking of the president. Whereby the president of Kenya is thinking of taking Kenya from the third world country to the first world country. But our president, the president of Uganda, is only thinking.
Maybe Museveni is also seeing. He said he made die before.
Is what I want to tell you now. The kind of the age and the kind of thinking he's thinking. He's now insecure of the situation he is. He's only thinking of insecurities. For example, he heard out that the East African community should come up with a navy that should station in the ocean in case of any attack from other foreign countries. Why should you think of war instead of development?
Museveni was a general star.
Of course, we can't. We need to be led by legislated people.
Thank you for your time. You have been make us to understand the politics of Uganda, and we shall have a next discussion on another episode. Thank you, my viewers. Thank you for your time.